Hi, I'm Felicity, registered nurse, cosmetic injector, and founder of the Fit Injector Clinic. Welcome to my channel and video podcast streaming on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Today is episode 7, and I have the very talented Lee joining me from NeoGenesis. Welcome, Lee. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh, thank you, Felicity.
Thanks for
asking
saying
me.
yes.
My pleasure.
So Lee is the founder of NeoGenesis, a medical grade skincare manufacturer, aka Skin Wizard or Skin Queen, as I like to refer to you as, here in Sydney. And today we're going to be chatting to Lee about her wealth of knowledge in skin conditions, skincare, and how she has built a successful business. So Lee, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, I started in the medical skincare industry 27 years ago.
Wow.
Working for Advanced Skin Technology. In those days, we were the only medical skincare company in Australia. So the playing field has really changed a lot. Yeah,
Totally.
in 27 years.
Yeah.
And of course, the integrity of the ingredients are totally different now as well. So in those days, we used really strong glycolics and we were exfoliating away at the skin constantly. And as the structures of some of those key ingredients like vitamin A, B, C's became better, we were able to implement feeding the skin, not just exfoliating the skin.
Ah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then how did your business start?
Well, having worked for a dermatologist after 7.5 years with Advanced Skin Technology, and then going back out on the road as a clinical educator with Rationale, I thought if I can do this for a couple of other companies, surely I can do it for myself.
Totally.
So that was the start of my own business back in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, so planned in 2008. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know I'm going to skip a couple questions because this is my burning question, is what goes into creating a skincare product? And give us an idea of how, obviously it's a minefield out there of products available, and what makes a product better than another product?
Basically, the integrity of the actives. So I really try and focus on ingredients being biomimetic, which means skin identical. So the penetration rates are accelerated when you're using those ingredients. You also get long-term correction with specific ingredients like moisturisers, etc., when you're using ingredients that naturally exist within the skin. When you're not using an abundance of those, the skin quite often will use its enzymes to push out what it actually doesn't want in the skin. Oh. So when you're using, formulations that are full of those ingredients, you've got this beautiful penetration of actives and fast absorption. So the results in that are the reversal of all that skin damage much faster.
So products that actually work.
Yeah.
Amazing. So who are your customers?
So we have lots of clinical nurses, doctors, laser clinics. So they're really medically focused. We have a lot of really good dermal therapists that are coming on board as well. Amazing. And we focus on them doing a private label. So they come into us. There are so many different formulations, so 14 different cleansers to choose from.
It's crazy.
We will customise as well if they want to do that. And they create their own range. And it's based on what their demographic is. So it's really focused on the people that they treat.
Totally. And you probably feel like every one of your customers has something completely unique about their business and the products that they are creating with you.
Absolutely.
And you also do some custom, because I remember last time we caught up, you were making some custom products for a plastic surgeon for like post-surgical treatments.
So we'll do that. So that can often lead to, a great base, and then we can utilise that again and put some really good anti-inflammatory peptides in it or growth factors. Incredible. So it's endless.
Yeah. And what I love is there is so much flexibility, and that each one of your customers has basically a completely different range. Like
Yeah.
you probably don't have two customers that have exactly the same things.
Yeah, they're not. They're all totally different.
Yeah.
What they pull into their ranges, and it can be small and very specific, or it can be really large.
Yeah.
And it just depends. A patient can come in and go on 2 products, and they'll be the mega workhorses that really instigate change. And then you'll have other people that want the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Every active serum.
The essential 12.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. And what goes into, let's say, making one skincare product? Because off air when you arrived, you were showing me a new sunscreen or a new zinc product that you've been creating, and you said you've trialled it 45 times to get the formula perfect. So tell us a little bit about what actually goes into creating a product like this.
Yeah, so quite often you'll find a formula at some of the conferences and you think, wow, the feel of that and texture is fantastic, but I want to put these specific actives into it. So that formula I showed you before, I actually started on 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
And intermittently worked on it. And like you said, it's taken 45 different attempts at using different ratios, swapping out ingredients to get it just right.
Yeah.
So that the texture's beautiful.
Yeah.
It absorbs in quickly and leaves a glow on the skin. So really hard to find. And that's one of the challenges is the elegance of a product so that you get great compliancy with it. So and then using those high ends. So what we're talking about was zinc and titanium.
Yep.
So a beautiful physical screen.
Yes.
So really pure. But really hard to work with.
Yeah, so hard.
Yes, but I could not stop.
And that's what I love about you, and that you don't stop. And I think last time I saw you, you'd been working on another product and you said, I've done 27 runs of this, last night. And it's just this, absolute love, passion that you have to get these things right. So you've got products that are delivering.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, determination and a passion for it.
Yeah.
I just, can't let it go. So it has to be perfect.
Absolutely
for me. Yeah.
And even over Christmas last year, there was a change in one of your ingredients, and then that sets the whole formula, and you've got to reformulate that whole product.
Yeah. So through COVID, some of the challenges were that instead of taking 4 to 6 weeks for an ingredient to come in, it was taking 6 months.
That's just insane.
And we weren't expecting it. So we were looking for alternatives.
Yeah.
We tried swapping out our particular titanium for another one that one of the suppliers had in stock. The formula looked great when it was first done and then just changed over a period of time. So really disappointing, and it made me realise you cannot just swap out some of your ingredients. It can really change the end formulation. So COVID made it very scary and
totally and probably at a time when I'm assuming for people, skincare sales were probably at an all-time high. For businesses that, say do treatments like I do, like cosmetics or beauty treatments, we can't see patients. Like I was, the online skincare sales were actually covering my bills. So I'm sure you probably had this all-time high for people wanting products, and then you've got these issues with actually you getting the ingredients. Oh,
just
nightmare.
Luckily with our core ingredients or core formulas, they pretty much stayed the same. We did have challenges with the most popular, which is the A, at one point in time as well. But we actually, we grew amazingly, and we weren't expecting it, but it was the fact that people couldn't get in to see you guys, so they were taking really good care of themselves at home.
And I feel like everyone's skincare game actually improved throughout COVID.
And because we carry all different packaging, we were able to create little kits for all the clinics so they could create little mild peels for their patients to do at home. So
really helpful.
It was gung-ho.
Pivot.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day look like for you, Lee?
Totally different, thank goodness, because I get really bored doing the same thing all the time. So it could be writing a formula, implementing it downstairs with the cosmetic chemist. It could be doing a training session, Zoom, interstate, could be flying interstate. doing training or catching up with new clients. Or bringing clients in, which is great. They love seeing what we do for the first time and seeing all the formulations and seeing the packaging and, seeing all the different labels that are created.
Yeah.
It's a great creative process for them. So, always different.
Yeah. It's like skincare Disneyland coming to visit you.
That's good. That's good.
It's fantastic. So there is obviously so much out there, and we've touched on this, but let's say from a consumer level, how does your business and your products differ from other things that are out there?
I really focus on steering away from all the nasties that are out there, which make a formula really affordable to manufacture, but not so great for the skin. So talking about ammonium and sodium lauryl sulfate, so surfactants that lather really well but have a tendency to strip the skin of its natural moisturising factors and impair the barrier function. PEGs, which are polyethylene glycol, so they're petroleum derivatives, artificial colours and scents, products loaded with silicons. So we steer away from those.
Which is just incredible. And it makes such a difference. And I've never had a client react to a product, return a product, not be happy with. If anything, people are like, this is so different to anything I've used before. And within a couple of days, they're saying that they're seeing results. And this could be a patient who comes in and, they've ended up on skincare TikTok and they've bought everything under the sun, but then they're actually having issues because their skin's sensitive and it's irritated, or they're not really seeing results. And I'll even send them home with a couple of samples of the products that we have here in the clinic. And then they'll call up 2 days later and they're like, I need to come back and get these. These are game changing to me.
That's what I love to hear.
And it's so powerful when that happens.
And that's because we focus on not just the active ingredients having the best integrity that I can find, through the suppliers, but also the bases being really pure. So they're loaded with a triple faceted hyaluronic acid, beautiful plant-based anti-inflammatories and antioxidants, and then we've got our key actives in there. So most of our serums are multifaceted. So you might have 5 locked into one. So even if someone goes on 1 or 2 serums,
it makes a difference.
They'll find those changes are present, about day 3.
Exactly. Like some people sometimes get overwhelmed because we've got a whole huge shelf here of products, and I break it down and I say, look, let's just start with these key, 2 or 3 things, and that can just make a world of difference for them. A lot of patients, I don't need to put them on 8 products, because like you said, there's so many things in one product. I feel like a lot can sort of like double up for people. That's right. And I think what you find over the counter is a lot of marketing hype.
Yes. So choosing a particular ingredient, vitamin A, retinol gets touted a lot.
Yeah.
But it's really dependent on how much is actually in that product.
Exactly.
And how it's delivered into the skin as well. Which makes a huge difference as to how long it's going to take to actually work on the skin.
Exactly.
And how many ingredients are in there that are actually blocking the absorption channels.
Totally. And this is probably the biggest piece of education that I do with my patients around skincare is that not all products are the same out there. And just because you're using a retinol or a vitamin C doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually being delivered to the skin and actually going to work for you.
Yeah, you're so right. And that's why we have the clients that we do, because you have a great understanding of what's required in a product in order for it to work. So you can educate your patients, really well. And you have that knowledge base, you put yourself through education.
Exactly. And it's so complementing to all of the treatments that are available in clinics as well, and they get better results too.
So and the health of the skin.
It's a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Hope you're enjoying this podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by the Fit Injector Clinic Mentoring Program, business mentoring for cosmetic nurse injectors. If you are a registered nurse who wants to become a cosmetic injector or an existing cosmetic injector who wants to start their own business or scale up your existing business, I have just launched an online version of my mentoring program with video modules for you to work through in your own time, downloadable information for you to keep, and a strategy call once you've completed that with me for 30 minutes to answer any questions that you have about starting or scaling up your business. If you want to get started, email me at admin@thefitinjector.com.au. So in the last few years, we did touch on this with, COVID and things.
Yeah.
You've had to, change and pivot a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm assuming quite a bit of growth for you with your business, with people, getting on board a lot more with skincare. What have been some of those changes you've seen in the last few years, or potentially with like trends in the industry as well?
A lot of the peptides
Yeah.
in skincare are becoming like really pivotal in what we put into our formulations. The growth in the business has been, I think, because we're implementing these new designs as well. Really hard at times to keep up with the manufacturing process and getting the products out for people. So it means like just, bringing on new staff, training them, going through that process as well.
Yeah.
So
because my next question was, how many staff have you got now?
We have 5 full-timers.
Amazing.
And a part-timer. Yeah. So
that is so good.
Yeah.
And takes the pressure off you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've outgrown your current space?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
That's
so it's very hard. So they have to work in this tiny little space.
All crammed in.
Yeah. Just bought some massive big equipment, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that'll be all lined up, and we've just created another lab space to do, small batch little formulations and things like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's
thank
so
you.
exciting.
It is exciting.
So now I'm hoping you're wearing slightly less hats than a few years ago.
I
just
think
slightly.
So. Yeah.
So now we're going to answer some questions that we've received. So what are the best and worst ingredients for your skin?
Okay, the best, as an overall umbrella, I would say biomimetic skin identical ingredients, and there are a plethora of them.
Yeah.
One of the keys is retinaldehyde.
Yes.
So it's the skin's natural storage form of vitamin A.
Love it.
It's stored within the fat cells of the skin and is converted into retinoic acid, which is your prescription form of vitamin A. So you get all of the benefits of that prescription form without any of the side effects.
It's incredible.
Yeah, so that would have to be my number one.
Your number one?
Yeah.
And what would be the worst ingredient that you could put on your skin?
Oh, probably, I think the most widely used would be the harsh surfactants that were designed to clean truck engines. So that's how effective they are at removing grease and oil.
Yeah, and they end up in skincare products,
which
is terrifying.
Most people that come in with skin conditions have an impaired barrier.
Yeah.
So that's number one at, reversing what's happening with their skin is repairing the barrier function.
Yeah.
And the others would be the PEGs. The lower the number, there's always a number after PEG. The polyethylene glycol. So the lower the number, the more associated it is with being toxic to the skin.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Really handy for consumers that are listening.
Yeah. And just the loading of silicons in a lot of the moisturisers. Silicon is great, and we actually have it for scar tissue reduction, and we have silicon tape. And it's beautiful, but it's not ideal for everyday use in a product.
In a moisturiser. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, next question is, where do you see the skincare industry heading over the next few years?
I think there's going to be more of a focus on people with the education on the internet and becoming really savvy at wanting to know more and having that easy access. It will drive them into the clinics. So the medical clinics that really have a great grasp on, what these people need to be using. rather than that typical over-the-counter
Yeah.
sales, which is huge. You know,
Massive.
it's a massive industry,
Yeah.
and the medical side of it is tiny. I would love to see that flip eventually.
Same.
It will take
Yeah.
a long time because of the marketing that's utilised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Social media, like I call it
Yeah.
skincare TikTok, where people end up.
Yeah.
And then I get patients in and they're like using like 7 different acids. I'm like, oh, and how often are we using those? Oh, every day.
Yeah.
And their face is nearly falling off.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
definitely, as you said, people then going, actually, I need some professional help on this. I need to know exactly what I should be using on my skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I see happening. And
Yeah.
word of mouth as more people come in and
Yes.
tell their
Yeah.
friends.
Go and try, that place. They've got great
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If you could only take one product on holiday, what would it be?
I would have, now that's hard. Oh God, I should say SPF. I should, but I don't think I could live without our vitamin A, B, C, hyaluronic acid product. It's like taking your skin to the best continental breakfast, ignoring all the bacon and things and just sticking to the fruit and everything that's really good for us.
I'm going to add that into my consulting now. The best continental breakfast.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
How do you find a balance between running a busy business and taking time for yourself? Because I know you are doing so much, but every time I see you, you seem so calm. So where's that balance?
Geez. I think I really look forward to Fridays.
Yes?
Yeah.
Best day of the week?
Yeah. I love actually being out with the clients, so that's really good. They're great days for me and they make the week fly. Chilling out is Fridays and the weekends and just
That's good. So scheduling that time, protecting that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And holidays for you, do you try and schedule those?
We normally do 5 weeks off at Christmas.
Amazing.
Just to totally chill out, which is great. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And that's all our questions.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 7 of this video podcast series. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. A huge thank you to Lee from NeoGenesis here in Sydney for joining me today. Thank you so much. It was really insightful.
Oh, thank you, Felicity. It's really an honour to be asked. And
thank you for saying yes.
Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.